The Army Painter is my favorite hobby company in the entire world. My desk is literally full of Army Painter products, and it takes me from being an average painter to putting above tabletop standard models out into the tournament scene. Not only that, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive play than any other hobby company in the industry. They allow us to keep doing the things that we do. If you enjoy the Army Painter as much as I do, head over to thearmypainter.com where you can use the discount code ARTOWAR5 to get a discount on your next order. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Art of War stream. I'm Richard, and I'm here today thanks to Games Workshop, who has provided us with the Omnissiah's blessing in the fact of a Thanatar class Siege Automata, which is a fantastic new model. It is perhaps my favorite Atomic model, period. And of course, this is Horus Heresy era, but it's fantastic. It had previously existed as Forge World only, and now for the first time ever, it is in plastic. And the model is amazing. I'm going to go through some of the details and the build and all that stuff. But in addition to that, I also received a book on the Martian Civil War that Games Workshop is going to be releasing. So I'm going to kind of go through what is actually in that book and some of the things you can look forward to. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this bad boy. So the Thanatar is, he's designed for sieges, and he is part of the Legio Cybernetica during the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, and mostly used as an artillery platform. And with that, he comes with a twin bolt cannon on his arm, and then he comes with a plasma mortar on his shoulder. And you'll see when you actually get the chance to build it, he's not going to come up amazingly well here, but he's going to come up in those awesome images that you're going to see. I painted him up pretty quick, like I said, and usually with these, it's not the final product. I got him to a good standard, but I will be putting plenty more details and some of those awesome transfer sheets that come with the box on there. So I can do better, and I will do better. But this build took me probably about 2.5 to 3 hours, quite a bit longer than many of the models in the Mechanica box set. And the reason is that there is a lot of little pieces on this guy. The leg assembly alone is probably going to take you about 45 minutes. And there's a lot of little pieces to glue. The arms themselves have a ton of pieces, but you build it in assembly. So you're going to build the two legs, then you're going to build the kind of main areas of the body, and it's split up into 3 individual pieces. And then you'll build the upper chest area where the head is. You'll build the mortar section and the arms, shoulders first, then the arms. And so it's very easy if you airbrush this model because it's designed to be individually painted, each of the parts. So you don't have to start gluing everything together to, put all the different pieces in place. You can literally build each limb and area of the body separate and paint them individually. So that's really nice. Sub-assembly is fantastically easy, well designed by Games Workshop. Probably one of their best models for airbrushing, frankly, because of this sub-assembly kind of method that you can use. And so what's the tricks here? Well, there's 2 different poses that you're going to see for the Thanatar. He has 2 different leg poses, and then depending on which leg poses you use, there will be a specific way in which to build the ammo rack that goes from the twin bolt cannon into the back of the Thanatar. And this is where you need to be quite careful. Whichever ones you pick and how you're going to place the legs is very much going to influence the placement of that ammo belt. And if you mess this up, it is not going to align properly. Now, wanting to have, the 2 leg poses that they give you are not the most dynamic. One is that both feet are fully planted, and, he's kind of just standing there, relatively stationary and kind of bland, I think. And then there's a second pose where you can put a little bit more of an angle on the feet. That way it looks like, he's been moving the different parts of his feet. I still was like, I want a little bit more motion. So as you'll see in the still images, I have one of the legs almost completely lifted off and kind of swinging around. And by doing this, it did not allow me to align the ammo belt perfectly as I wanted to. It's at a little bit of an angle. It looks very natural how I glued it, but I had to kind of jerry rig and move around the arm a little bit in position. So Be very careful about what you decide, and really because it all comes in sub-assembly and you don't have to glue any of the arms or into the torso or anything, you can just wait till the end and kind of roughly maybe use blue tack or something like that to position it how you want, and then make sure it's going to be all lined properly. But going in before you start building the legs, which is the first part, really decide on what kind of pose you want the Thanatar to be in. So that's kind of my advice for building. Overall, it's not the most complex build. It just has a lot of little pieces that go in specific places. But the main trick to watch out for is how you're positioning the legs, and that's going to line up with and then the arms as well, where they're going to hang. That's going to basically link to the ammo belt. Okay, so Thanatar, awesome, really great build. Now let's go ahead and talk about the new campaign book, which is the Martian Civil War. So this is going to be one of the first in-depth looks at many of the different battles that are fought between the Mechanicum and involving other factions of Space Marines and such. So what is actually in this book? I'm just going to kind of go through the glossary here for you and the table of contents. So table of contents is going to start off with a wide variety of different lore-based passages. So the main topics you're going to be seeing in this book are the Schism of Mars, the Carta Galactica, the Death of Innocence, the Perditum Incursion, the War Master's Arrival, the Birth of the Mechanicum, the Mars Campaign, Core Missions, Apex Missions, Dark Scions of the Castorius, and then the Automata Malefica, which involves, I believe these are going to be, oh yeah, it does say specifically, so the Khitan Demon Engine, the Greater Brass Scorpion, Blood Slaughterer, and the Decimator. It's going to give you some amount of Horus Heresy rules for these, I believe. And then you have the Relic Hunt missions. So these are very much narrative focused. The Techno Heresies of the Dark Age. And then at the end of the book is several additional units that you can use in any of your Horus Heresy games, which is going to involve data sheets, is what they're called in 40K. I don't know if they have a particular term in Horus Heresy, but effectively the rules for these units, which is Aster Crone, who I believe is from the Blood Angels, Kaida's Nex from the Raven Guard, Camba Diaz from the Imperial Fists, and then finally the Krios Squadron, which is AdMech specific, and that is kind of AdMech's rough equivalent of a Predator tank. It's their main battle tank, and it's like a bit bigger than a Rhino and a Predator, but much smaller than the Triaros. So you get rules for running it, and you can run it in a squadron or solo, depending on how you prefer. But overall, there's a good mix of stuff in here. There's some really glorious images of a variety of units, and the lore passages are quite rich. I'm not going to break down all the different things that are said in this book in this video. Instead, if you do have any questions for me about, hey, does this appear? Does this appear? What do these look like? If you do have specific questions, please let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them and open up the book. But otherwise, I'm going to do a whole series of shorts on the YouTube channel that goes through some of the more interesting aspects of the lore that's in this book. So if you're going to be looking forward to that, then come back to the channel over the next couple weeks, as I'll be releasing a series of those shorts based on what I find most interesting. But if there are moments in here that you'd really like to hear, definitely let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, thanks so much to Games Workshop for sharing the Thanatar and the Martian Civil War book with me, because love AdMech, amazing. The models in 30K are some of the best that Games Workshop has created, and really excited to see what else they're going to add in plastic, because I will definitely be getting all those models. Thanatar really doesn't have an equivalent for AdMech in 40K, so if you're a 40K player, I don't really know what you would convert him as. He's kind of like, he's like a Custodian Telemon Dreadnought. He's kind of that size. He's probably bigger than a Redemptor Dreadnought. He is a quite sizable guy, an absolute unit, as you might say. And so he doesn't really have an equivalent in the Adeptus Mechanicus at the moment to use as a conversion, but he looks absolutely fantastic. If you do run Armiger Helverins or Armiger Warglaves or such, you possibly could do some amount of converting there and have Thanatars kind of fill that slot. But of course, that's going to require a decent amount of conversion work. So if you're up for that, that's probably the closest equivalent, although it's not AdMech specific. So hopefully in the future, these will become accessible to the 40K players. I know I'm hoping for that because I will buy a lot more. And Games Workshop does like money. So Games Workshop, let them be available for 40K. We'd love to play these models because AdMech fans as a whole, 30K, 40K, should be united in having cool models. And I think we can all agree on that. So thanks so much for joining. If you do have any questions about the Thanatar, about the build, about the Martian Civil War book, please do let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. But tune back in the next couple weeks as I go through some of the coolest lore insights and interesting things that the 30K team has written about here. So thanks so much, and I'll see you all next time for more. So long for now.